to run my fingers along her centuries-old dark wooden body, and to stand before a sacred image of black femininity. Eyeing the security cameras conspicuously aimed at the altar, I assessed the risks. On the one hand, I knew from experience that black people and women are especially punished when we disregard rules. On the other hand, I knew that black people and women are especially punished whenever we do pretty much anything. We live in a world that punishes us for having opinions, for existing, for taking up space. As I stood at the edge of the Black Madonna of Mohiac's altar, I recall the numerous beatings I had endured as a black woman. Much like this one. I can't tell if you're sloppy or mischievous. Those were the words a male audience member publicly said to me at the end of my academic lecture at Cambridge University. Drawing on my expertise as a social psychologist and theologian, I had just exposed the rampant racism in a famous Cambridge scholar's work, and the scholar's fanboys were all up in arms. I mean, how dare I critique their precious intellectual idol? One fanboy attacked, "I can't tell if you're sloppy or mischievous." Rather than offering a legitimate critique of my lecture, he fired off a racial gender slur that cut to the core of my identity as black and female. Sloppy is a delegitimizing stereotype launched at black people. Sloppy, dirty, lazy, worthless. These are some of the labels society uses to brand us. And ever since good old Eve in the Garden of Eden, women have been saddled with the mischievous stereotype, especially when we disregard social norms and do unthinkable things like call out a scholar's racism. Mischievous, deceptive, untrustworthy, morally weak. These are the labels that society uses to bitch slap us into submission. I can't tell if you're sloppy or mischievous. Right off the bat, as if it were already locked and loaded, his attack on my blackness and femaleness was so precise, he might as well have said, "I can't tell if you're black or female. I can't tell if you're sloppy or mischievous." The memory of such beatings continued to clang in my soul, as I stood in the Basilica of Mohiac, just 40 feet away from an ancient statue of the divine black and female one, who was neither sloppy nor mischievous. There she stood, head held high, black skin glimmering in the candlelight, her fierce gaze a declaration to the whole world. "Go on, I dare you to call me sloppy or mischievous." "Yeah," I murmured to myself. "No rope or threat of alarms is going to stop me from getting near her." I removed my walking boots so as not to soil the carpeted altar, and lifted my sock-covered foot to step over the rope barrier. As soon as my big toe crossed the vertical plane, a ferocious, ear-piercing, pew-rattling alarm sounded. Knowing I only had seconds before I was discovered, I made a mad dash across the length of the altar to kiss her wooden feet and quickly look up to receive her gaze, half expecting her to shoot me an approving wink. Harsh emergency lights illuminated the once dark sanctuary as I ran back across the rope and scrambled to pull on my boots. By the time I reached the basilica door, I could hear the faint but familiar "nee-oo, nee-oo, nee-oo, nee-oo" sound of French police sirens coming for me. My heart rate quickened as I thrust open the heavy wooden and iron doors, stumbled into the ghost town-like plaza, and frantically searched for a place to hide out. I could hear the sirens coming closer, but there was nowhere to go. In every direction, all I could see was a deserted cobblestone square, empty post-tourist season sidewalk cafes, and shuttered shops. Terrified of being caught, arrested, and who knows what, I ran along the edges of the plaza looking for an open door. As the sirens grew louder and a squad of police cars rounded the corner into the town square, I tripped on my still untied shoelaces and tumbled into an empty restaurant, covered in outdated forest green velour decor. Pulling myself up off the floor, I ignored the bartender's gaping stare and immediately sought refuge in the restroom. Inside the